Introduction. After Windows Phone 8.1's release in April last year, the Lumia brand went undercover, as Microsoft released very few handsets and pondered what comes next for the operating system and its smartphone business. Fast forward to September 2015, though, and the Windows universe has been shaken by yet another big bang, for MS released the new Windows 10 on practically everything that has a computer and display in its assembly, from fitness tracking wristbands all the way to smartphones, tablets, and laptops. Designed an uninspired look and feel that isn't fit for a high-end smartphone in this day and age. The Lumia 950 XL has to be the single most nondescript high-end phablet released in 2015. Representing pure function over form, the handset has a conservative plastic body that's about as attractive as your entry-level Windows laptop nowadays. There are no decorations of any kind, which makes for a clean, but incredibly dull look. Upon a closer examination, we notice that the removable back panel won't attach itself fully in some places, and also give in when pressure is applied. This is a cheap build that's out of line with what one may expect from a $600 smartphone. Still, the phablet isn't completely design unconscious, for it presents a decent screen-to-body ratio and feels reasonably comfortable in the palm. But the volume and power keys placed right have sharp corners, feel mushy, and aren't just bad. Moreover, the Lumia 950 XL is rather top-heavy, but on the upside, there's a dedicated camera shutter key, which will come in handy for avid photographers. And, displayed the Lumia 950 XL's 5.7-inch AMOLED display sure sounds impressive on paper, and what do you know, it actually does deliver the goods, save for one glaring flaw. At just 297 nits of maximum brightness, this is one dim screen that will make you squint your eyes under bright light. Otherwise, things are great for the most part. The 1440x2560 resolution is more than adequate for this diagonal, while the color temperature and gamma calibration at play result in pleasant, natural tones. The display isn't pinpoint color accurate, but most shades and hues are quite close to their reference values. Moreover, you can choose between different color profiles, or adjust the picture completely to your liking. If there's something about the 950 XL's display that's not to your liking, tinker away. Interface and functionality. Technologically, Windows 10 represents a substantial update to the Windows Phone platform. Yet, even with the many new features and tweaks Microsoft has piled up on the platform, the Windows on a smartphone experience has barely changed. In fact, from the perspective of an everyday user that doesn't demand advanced settings, services, and device convergence, the change might as well have been for the worse. When it works, Windows 10 is smooth and straightforward, but when it doesn't, it gets ugly. Unfortunately, our experience with the Lumia 950 XL was peppered with an unhealthy amount of frustration. It took us the better part of an afternoon to merely register a Microsoft account, as the burdensome and confusing procedure kept culminating in nonsensical error messages. More than a few times, we found ourselves tapping non-responsive buttons in vain, held back by menus that refused to load, tolerating sluggish app installs, and cumbersomely browsing the web with the Edge browser. Initially, we couldn't even try out the fabled iris scanner security feature, as the system stubbornly refused to accept our freshly restored account password. It magically worked the next day, letting us tell you more about this totally cool piece of functionality in the paragraphs ahead. System performance. Performance-wise, the Lumia 950 XL is a mixed bag. For example, the phone does a killer job handling PureView's complex photography, which involves lots of post-processing and dealing with large file sizes. But Windows 10 itself feels unoptimized as menus occasionally stutter, the Edge browser is slow to render web pages, and apps refresh unusually often. Moreover, gamers won't be able to give that premium hardware a good run, for the selection of visually intense titles present in the Windows Store pales in comparison with that of competing platforms. Camera promising as it seems, the PureView camera's reputation has been merely upheld once more, not grown stronger. The Lumia 950 XL is marketed as a camera powerhouse, which is hardly surprising considering the hardware and tech savvy involved. Microsoft is bringing back the PureView camera guns blazing, employing a 20-megapixel 1/2.4 camera sensor with Zeiss optics, optical image stabilization, and the industry's first triple LED flash, shining brighter than 1,000 suns. The cam takes pictures in either 19MP or 8MP resolution, saving them in either JPEG or JPEG plus DNG file formats. Video recording goes up to 3840x 2160p/30 fps, although 1080p/60 fps is also an option for extra smooth motion. The camera interface feels familiar and easy to navigate, no matter which platform you come from. There's plenty of manual control at hand, making it easy to adjust white balance, focus, ISO, shutter speed, and exposure. The star of the show here is the PureView camera's rich capture speciality, which lets you adjust a photo's level of illumination immediately after taking it. Image quality after taking the Lumia 950 XL for a spin. Our verdict is that the PureView camera makes adequate photos that fail to stand out among those achieved by competing phablets in its price range. The 20MP cam captures plenty of detail, indeed, but outdoor and indoor scenes tend to come off a tad oversaturated. Kicking in rich capture mode unexpectedly amplifies the problem, as it adds a not-so-subtle boost in saturation and contrast, giving photos a heavily processed look. Selfies from the 5MP FF cam turn out much in the same way, though certainly not as detailed. With an array of 3 LEDs serving as its camera flash, it's not surprising that the PureView cam is a strong contender in the low-light department. Not all is peachy, however. Although the bright and even illumination increases exposure and brings out details where most of the competition renders noise, the long exposure time can make photos come out blurred. This is especially visible in a club setting, where colorful light rays landing on people's clothes appear as blotches of color. Still, nighttime photography with the Lumia 950 XL is great at best, and reliable at worst, no matter if you kick in the triple LED flash or don't. Conclusion: unfortunately, the Lumia 950 XL fails to champion Windows 10 before the better, faster, stronger competition of Android and iOS phablets. The operating system is still in need of improvement and doesn't make for the kind of polished user experience that we're used to from competing devices. The phablet itself feels undercooked, as if it was quickly put together so that the new platform would have a launch device. We fear the 950 XL is destined to be forgotten quickly after a more elaborate handset claims its media and retail presence for itself in the first half of 2016. Hopefully, it will make a better case for Windows 10's strong sides. Still, fans of Microsoft's non-traditional approach to mobile computing, or users deep into MS's product ecosystem, will have a hard time finding a more impressive Windows 10 smartphone than the Lumia 950 XL right about now. Otherwise, with its unlocked price of almost $600, the 950 XL simply lacks a killer feature that would make one go for it, instead of a superior and more reasonably priced Android device, like the Google Nexus 6P by Huawei. However, we must acknowledge that high-end phablets that play on the same hardware field as the Lumia 950 XL usually start from $700 and up. But given the handset's serious shortcomings, we still cannot call it a bargain. Pros: 1. Big display with reasonably accurate colors. 2. Elaborate camera that handles most scenarios reliably. 3. Features like iris scanners, security and continuum are quite advanced, although very niche at the moment. Cons: 1. Mediocre design and build quality. 2. Very low maximum brightness for the display. 3. Frustrating user experience that's riddled with bottlenecks.